Working Cloud can be used to manage invoices. This includes creating new invoices and processing invoices derived from work records, orders, quotes, and contracts. To access the invoice section of Working Cloud, move your cursor over Work and then click on Invoices. First of all, we're going to have a look at creating a new invoice. So click Create Invoice. Select the client, select the site, and select the contact. Now you can add a new client, a new site, or a new contact by clicking on these icons here. Now we need to select the template. To edit or add new templates, go to Manage, Manage Templates, and click on Invoice Templates. Now we need to come up with a name for this invoice. We need to select Terms and Conditions. This one can also be managed through Terms and Conditions here. Now you can add a description. I'm just going to type description and click Save. This brings us into the invoice. So wherever you see this icon, you can edit the content. So what we need to do is have a look at the products and services on this invoice. If we want to add more products and services, we can click here and click Add Product or Service. And then we have to type the name. So you can type it in and then it will list it. So we'll click IT Services and we're going to add 10. Now you can override the buy price, sell price, item quantity, and the item code and description. So I'm going to add a description to this one and click Save. Now close this one off and we'll go back to the detail page. Before we do that, you can also add groups, which is the same as the bundles. So let's click back to detail page. Now, we can email the invoice to the client, but before doing that, we can also print the invoice, create a template from this invoice, copy the invoice, create a new version, and look at all versions of the invoice. We can also have a discussion or schedule a meeting about the invoice. We can lodge activity about the invoice. We can attach files to this one, and we can show this to the client and email this one to the client contact, and then click Post. And then we'll email the invoice. So select the recipient and then click Add and type the message and click Send. Now that will be sent to the client. Close this one. So then what we can do is update our status to awaiting payment and click Save. Now that we have received the payment, we're going to click Add Payment. Type the amount, select the type, and select when you received it. And you can add a transaction reference and click Save. Now, if you have Xero connected, you won't need to do any of this in Working Cloud. You'll do that in Xero. So now I'm going to change the status to complete and click Save. OK. And now this brings us back to the main screen, and as you can see, invoice 1, it's complete. We need to close off the invoice. So here you can choose if you'd like to turn the invoice into a template for later use, and you need to type the template name. I'm going to uncheck that one and just close the invoice. Now I'm going to show you how to close off an invoice from either a work record, order, quote, or contract, and that would have come through into the Manage Invoice section as it's being completed in other sections of Working Cloud, so in these ones. So I'm just going to pick this one, so order number 12. So as you can recall, we can edit any of these and we can use any of these buttons here. What I'm going to do is email the invoice to the client. You don't need to type new invoice, you can send a particular message that relates to your business. I'm just putting that in there and closing that one off. So now I've emailed it to the client, I'm awaiting the payment. And now I've actually received the payment, so now I'm going to add the payment. So it's 871.20. And select the payment type. So I was given cash, and I was given that one today. And I'm just going to put reference, save, and close this one off. And now we're going to complete this invoice and click save. Okay. Now, if you haven't received all the payments, you aren't actually able to close off the invoice. So you need to get all of the payment details in there before you can complete it. So now we need to close this invoice and click yes, close invoice. Now, just say that we want to cancel an invoice. What we can do is go into here, I'll use this one, and edit it. And what we can do is cancel the invoice and click save. And now that invoice has been cancelled. So as you can see here, order 11 was actually cancelled. And we can view this one and see that it was cancelled. Now to find an invoice, you can search by the job ID, name, client, owner, status or flag, and then click filter. And you can also reset this one so it brings you back to this one. And you can use the buttons here to navigate and find the invoice. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy doing Simply Better Business.